government by surprise. It took everyone by surprise. Let's get more now from Daniel Levy, who is in London but is the president of the US Middle East Project and was a former Israeli negotiator. Just listening there to Amit and the way that these musical festival goers were surprised, and some of them clearly in those videos kidnapped. What is it now, do you think, that the Israelis have to do to get Amit's friends back?
Well, of course, heartbreaking to hear Amit. Of course, the Israeli deterrence was caught by surprise. The Israeli military was caught by surprise. The Israeli intelligence, considered to be one of the most highly vaunted and respected in the world, caught by surprise. This, of course, has to be about making sure that all of those civilians who've been taken can return safely. But I fear that if we end the conversation there, Marianne, we may have a similar conversation sometime in the not too distant future. Because what we haven't talked about is, why is there a popular resistance movement, a militant movement in Gaza amongst the Palestinians resorting to these kinds of tactics? And the sad truth is that, yes, war is terrible. War's terrible anywhere. But the solution is not going to be a military one. The solution is going to have to be a political one, which takes care not only of Amit's friend, but also addresses the fact that Israelis have woken up to a horrific reality yesterday, today. Palestinians live without all the basic freedoms, the basic things that you and me take for granted. They live under a permanent occupation for approaching 6 decades. It's been called an apartheid regime. There can be, sadly, no security, not for Amit, not for his festival-going friends, as long as Palestinians are deprived their most basic rights and freedoms and dignity. So if we zoom out, difficult as it is to do on a day like today, and after listening to Amit, if we zoom out, we're going to have something which not only addresses that question you just raised, but addresses the absence of any horizon of hope for millions of Palestinians, not just this weekend, but every day of every year for decades.
But given, Daniel, the extent of this attack, given the ferocity of the attack, given the makeup of the Israeli government right now, how likely is it that things are going to change?
Very unlikely indeed. But let's not have a time horizon of days or months in front of us. The appeal to the international community has to be an appeal that includes sending a signal to Palestinians that they have another way. You know, you have a Palestinian movement which 30 years ago, last month it was 30 years ago, recognized Israel, signed an agreement with Israel, made a deal to pursue negotiations. And since that time, the number of illegal Israeli settlers has quadrupled. Since that time, all those things that you just said, all the indignities that Israelis saw yesterday are visited on Palestinians every day. Now, the reason, I think, that you can have an Israeli government of such extremity is that Israelis have been given the message, and this plays into how this happened. How come this huge failure? Israelis have been given the message by their friends in America, Britain, and the West that it's okay, you can do anything to the Palestinians, and we'll have your back. And that leads to Israel making the wrong decisions. It means Israel has avoided the hard choices. It means Israel has told itself that it can deal with this. The Palestinians are not a real problem. The world is okay with it. And that leads to the kind of hubris, the kind of ignoring of the reality, which I think has led to a deep decomposition within the system. And today and yesterday, Israelis are waking up to a psychological confusion and shock, the likes of which is unprecedented. And as people take a deep breath, come to terms with this, I'm afraid we're going to see horrific scenes coming from Gaza when it comes to what Israel is going to do there. But at some stage, if we actually want hope and we don't want to have these conversations in the future, that is going to have to include a wall-to-wall change in the policy that's taken towards the Palestinians, because unless Palestinians have security, Israelis won't have security, and war is appalling for everyone caught in it.